There's something fishy going on about Caitlin Clark being out for 2 weeks. Y'all, let's get into this thing right now. Man, I don't know about y'all, but something fishy is going on with Caitlin Clark magically being out 2 weeks after this last game. I want to say that thought they said that she had some type of a lower body injury. Can't remember if it was quad or something like that, but I think everybody has seen the news, and I purposely waited to do my video because I just did the video on what I thought was going to happen with Caitlin Clark. And before I get to do my long form content tonight, Ron and I got a video coming out on Travis Hunter later on tonight. But I wanted to come up here and get this video uploaded before this story wore off. And I just think it's something fishy about Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever announcing that she's going to be out 2 weeks because, like I told y'all, I really believe that the players wanted vigilante justice. The players stopped playing the game. They were going to hurt this girl. Clearly, I do believe Caitlin Clark is dealing with some type of energy because for her to be shooting threes at this level, we know what she can do. But also, guys, if you're getting beat up and you're getting fouled, it's going to be hard to make some of those shots that we're accustomed to her making. And let's be honest, why do I think it's fishy? Caitlin Clark is getting beat up, getting no calls, and she's still playing through injury. But magically, guys, I think this is from the top. I think they realized they had lost control of the players. Angel Reese, Brittany Griner, Ryan Howard. You started seeing they were getting out of control with how they were treating Caitlin Clark. I think they had to pull Caitlin Clark because it was getting too testy. And they can't get their message going, and they can't have what they want to have happen if the players start asking for start going for vigilante justice. Now, guys, I wrote some notes down in my phone, so I apologize because I'm just getting off the road and I wanted to get this video out. But here's the deal, guys. Here's what I think this is. And y'all just let me go through my points. I apologize. It won't flow like some of my other videos, but I really wanted y'all to get this. This is a dry run for the ultimate plan with the CBA, but it's also a silent protest with Caitlin Clark. Notice, guys, I think this thing has a duality in it. The WNBA is happy because they need to see for 2 weeks at the beginning of the season, while the ratings are high, are people still going to not watch? We need to know if Caitlin Clark is not here. We need to see that at the beginning of the season rather than at the end of the season. So the WNBA wants her out because how bad will these ratings get? So that if she ends up getting a quote unquote injury again, or if she ends up out for the season, what adjustments can we make? So the WNBA has their component of, yeah, let's see how bad it's going to get. We need to know how bad it's going to get. I think on Caitlin Clark's side, I think she and her agent said, you know what? We ain't putting up with this right now. I ain't gonna play through these injuries. I'm not gonna do what's best for the team. I'm not gonna put the league first. We did our whole white privilege thing where we went out and apologized for being white and gave credit for white privilege for my results. And I did all these things, and these people treating me worse this year than they treated me last year. I think that's going on in the Caitlin Clark camp. So now you're at a standoff. The WNBA is saying, good, we can get back to what we're about with Caitlin Clark being gone. Let's see how bad it's going to be. Let's see if these people really only watch for Caitlin Clark. Are they lying? Or they really believe that the Caitlin Clark fans are going to watch when Caitlin Clark is not there? Right? Y'all got to understand, this ain't Magic and Bird, right? This ain't Kareem and Wilt. This is not, LeBron and whoever. These people are Caitlin Clark fans. But the WNBA still wants to believe that their product is good without Caitlin Clark. We've been around for how many years without Caitlin Clark? We were never judged on ratings. We were judged on being about giving women the respect they deserve. So those are the two things you got. I think Caitlin Clark, and this is all alleged, guys. This is just Jeff. This is just real cigar Jeff telling you what his thoughts are. Caitlin Clark's camp is saying, sit out. Let's see what they do without you. Don't fight through that injury now. The WNBA is saying, yeah, good, sit out. We want to show you that we can do this without you. Okay? Now, remember, guys, the CBA is everywhere on this. The CBA is where all this is going. Negotiation is where all this is going. The WNBA doesn't want it to be about Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark knows it's all about Caitlin Clark. So now Caitlin Clark is saying, these women going to treat me like this? I'm gonna sit out. Y'all go try to do this thing without me. Okay? Now, let's go to the next step, guys. Let me tell y'all where I'm going with this. Go back to the Minnesota game a couple weeks ago. And I'm not on either side of the political fence about this. I'm just telling y'all what happened. Minnesota tried to pull a George Floyd tribute. Guys, if you looked at how many people were in the stands, hardly nobody was there. And after she did the George Floyd tribute, hardly anybody clapped. Y'all got to understand what's happening right now. The WNBA saying we got to get Caitlin Clark out of the way so that we can get this social justice message out that we want. And I'm fine with the WNBA doing that. I don't care what side of the fence you fall on, whether you're a George Floyd supporter or whether you don't believe in the whole George Floyd thing. I'm not here to discuss that. But if you're the WNBA, there's a reason why they did that in Minnesota. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the WNBA already know that Caitlin Clark was going to be out. And now what they're trying to do is force the Caitlin Clark fans to listen to some things that maybe the Caitlin Clark fans don't care about. But now that showed you where the WNBA was going and why they don't want Caitlin Clark around for the next 2 weeks. Here's what the WNBA's plan is, in my opinion. Again, that this is just Jeff's opinion. I don't have no inside sources. The WNBA wants to go into the CBA negotiations and the media negotiations. The CBA is going to be about guilting the owners into making it about the plight of women and social justice instead of basketball, and Caitlin Clark being the difference. Remember, guys, they already got the media deal. So we're not talking about the media deal. We're talking about how this money is going to be divvied up. Remember, they want 7 figures. They want some players to be making 7 figures. There's only 2 people who can probably, well, maybe 3 or 4, that can justify 7 figures. And that's Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, the Dallas Stars girl. I can't remember her name. And maybe 1 or 2 more. Okay. They want 7 figures. They want to be quote unquote paid like the men. Notice what I just said to y'all. The way you go into negotiations is we're not going to make this about basketball and ratings. We're not going to make this a business discussion. We're not going to negotiate around Caitlin Clark. Are you kidding me? There's only one Caitlin Clark. Y'all owners don't want to be seen as racist. Do y'all know one of the biggest things that's trending right now is black fatigue? Black fatigue. Why is no other race having fatigue tied to it? And I'm saying this as a black man because one of the things you guys are going to find is when you find out that your negotiation is not working, you change direction, right? This black fatigue thing is real. This social justice thing is real. The lifestyle choices thing, fatigue is real. It's not just black fatigue. I'm gonna tell you like this. It's a lot of the alternative stuff fatigue. People, when it comes to sports, people want it to be on merit. And it's hard to override that. But how do you override it? Simple. You tell the owners, if you don't do what we want or you don't give us what we want, we're gonna position you as racist. Go back to the Atlanta Dreams game. Put some respect on women's sports. Put some respect on it. Okay? That was the night that Caitlin Clark played in Atlanta, and in the center court, it wasn't in the Atlanta Dream logo. Put some respect on women's sports. Guys, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. I'm not here to tell you which side I fall on, but I do see a negotiation. Caitlin Clark is in the way. It's going to be a basketball discussion, and the owners are going to say, you only got one player who can do this. But what happens if we call these owners racist and sexist and homophobic and transphobic? Now you got the owners, they don't want to be called that because you can't be rich and have that stuff associated with you. That's where the negotiation is going to be. We can't make it about Caitlin Clark this year. The WNBA is glad she's out for 2 weeks. I think Caitlin Clark is going to be nursing this injury a lot. They don't want the negotiations to be about Caitlin Clark and her fans and the ratings. No, the owner's going to win that battle all day because the owner's going to say, you only got one person that's driving ratings. Angel Reese ain't got it. Asia Wilson ain't got it. Kelsey Plum ain't got it, right? The player from Dallas Wings don't have it. Paige Beckers don't drive it. You only got one person. So if you're going with a negotiation, if you're the Players Association and these players, you got to get Caitlin Clark out of here. Now, you guys listen to it now. The power in the negotiation. If you don't give us the money we want, you're against elevating women's sports, you're homophobic, you're anti-LGBTQ, and you're racist, owner. What you gonna do about that? We ain't talking about Caitlin Clark. You should have a moral compass. You should have an ethical compass and pay us like the men. Because if you don't, this ain't about business when it comes to women's sports. Put some respect on women's sports. Okay, guys? The media partners are going to get behind the players and the player association. The owners are going to get pressure because nobody wants to be a racist. Remember, guys, the George Floyd tribute that they didn't care that nobody wasn't there. They don't care that nobody clapped. The owners can't be seen as disenfranchising minority groups. That's going to be the negotiation. That's why they're glad that Caitlin Clark is out. That's why they're glad that Caitlin Clark is quote unquote saying she injured. I don't think Caitlin Clark is coming back in 2 weeks. Did y'all see the next 5 games? Liberty, Sky. No, they want these teams to be able to show that we ain't got to get the ratings we were getting with Caitlin Clark. We just don't want them to. We don't want them to fall through the floor. They're going to be down. We accept that. But good luck when the rich have to negotiate against the disenfranchised. And the Players Association and those WNBA players are already positioning themselves as a disenfranchised group that owners have made all this new money and they're trying to make it about Caitlin Clark. We don't want to make it about Caitlin Clark. We want to make it about the fact that you have a moral and ethical duty that if you believe in women and you want to see women have equal footing, you better pay us. Now, guess what, guys? I hate to say it. How are the owners going to win that? How are the owners going to win that? Because guess what, guys? The more successful you get, the last thing you want to be called is racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynistic. You don't want any of those things associated with you. The more money you have, you want to be known as a giver and a person who gives other people opportunity. That's what the WNBA Players Association and the players are going against these owners for the next CBA. That's why you're promoting Angel Reese. That's why you're promoting the players that you want, because this is not about basketball. We're going to take the moral and ethical route, because if we made it about basketball, we're going to still get the same amount because the owners are still not turning a profit. But if I make it about race, social justice, homophobic stuff, anti-LGBTQ, all this stuff, put some respect on women's sports, guys. Remember that center logo on the Atlanta Dream court that night. That's the negotiation tactic. Get Caitlin Clark out of here. We don't want to discuss Caitlin Clark. She can sit out the whole season as far as the WNBA Players Association and players. We can guilt them into morality and ethical things that's going to make them give us the money, because they don't want the political backlash. Because with ESPN and CBS and all the media partners partnering with the players, the media partners hate Caitlin Clark. If they make this negotiation about Caitlin Clark and ratings, the WNBA can no longer do the social justice stuff they want to do. That's why they're not going to let it happen, guys. The WNBA doesn't want to be paid their value based on merit. They want to be paid their value based on rich guilt. Get down in the comment section. Let me know what you think, man. If you hadn't already, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell for notifications. And until next time, I'm going to holler.